Always. So we want some yoga blocks. I forgot to mention that, but I'm assuming all of you keep that stuff nearby anyway. I'm going to go ahead and mute you all, but if you have questions during class, it's okay to unmute yourself. Let's begin on our backside, please. You don't have to stretch all the way out, but if you want to, obviously, please do so. And try to get our focus in on this body, this moment, this breathing. Perhaps creating just a little bit of conscious sound on the exhale, that really light restriction, like a whisper in your throat. Smoothing and soothing the breath. Feeling for spine's natural curves, maybe nodding the head a couple of times or turning your head side to side. Trying to find that equilibrium, that natural state. And noticing those 4 points of contact that are especially heavy on the ground, the right and the left side of the pelvis, and the right and the left shoulder. Feel the spine kind of centered between all of that, middle of the pelvis, sacrum. Let's start to bring the legs in towards our torso. Noticing that the pelvis will then probably tip a little bit into posterior tuck. That's fine, just let it happen. And maybe just do some teeny tiny reverse abdominal crunches. You don't even have to lift your pelvis very far. Just see if you can connect to that ability to tuck and kind of point the tailbone slightly up. Creating a little rocking here. Just a tuck and an untuck. With or without your hands on your knees, you can start to create a little flow with the hips in a circular pattern. The knees might want to mirror each other, or the legs rather, or they could kind of both be synced up, which would be more of a spine rock. Let's have some fun with it. Arrange your knees about over your hips so it feels like your thigh bone is vertical. Arms are going to rest beside you now. And while we keep the natural curve and the neutral position of the pelvis, we're going to slowly let the legs march and split. One leg towards you, one leg away from you. We're going to keep the knees bent on this one. Just a little bit of a marching energy with the legs. Noticing how the low core responds to that. Back ribs are still going to stay heavy to the floor. Use your breath as a strategy to keep your neutral, stable position. So that might mean kind of keeping some of that expansion as you inhale, rather than letting everything deflate and squeeze in. 2 more marches. Pause here again with the knees right over the hips. Your option here is to just keep the legs squeezing towards one another, or you can use one of your yoga blocks to create something to squeeze onto. And here we're going to keep shoulders rested and start to tip the lower body into about a half of a twist. So don't go all the way over. Just see if you can control kind of a mid-range twist, rock side to side. Rolling through that center. Noticing the ribs might want to peel away from the mat a little bit. Taking it slow a few more passes. Mini twist. Your speed. Now let's create more of a full circle, letting the knees travel slightly away from you, taking them to one side, and then pulling them in nice and close. And then taking them over to the opposite side and forward. Your challenge here is to keep the back in that neutral presentation because it wants to flex and extend as you move. Let's go the other way with those circles. One more. Release your feet to your mat. Keep them nice and wide, knees bent. Start to let the hips oscillate side to side and windshield wiper. It's rolling onto the edges of the feet. The leg that's turning inward, give that side a little squeeze from the glutes. See how that changes the experience on the front side of your hip. Or maybe a little bit into your low back. How does it feel? Okay, next stop. Let's curl up into cannonball again. Lift your head and shoulders. Start to rock on your spine a few times. And then we're going to bring our knees into like maybe a 90-degree bend or even a little bit tighter than that. We're going to find our Z sit, similar to the 90-90, but not quite as strict. Right leg is going to go behind you slightly. Nudge yourself towards about the middle of your mat, but scoot yourself towards the back edge. And all you're going to do here is alternate between, kind of like the windshield wipers, alternate the legs, one's turning in, one's turning out. Your hands are here to support you in any way that you need. Aiming for the most upright and neutral position of the spine without forcing anything. So there might be some compensations there, it's okay. No forcing. That will only set us back. Option here to add in just a little bit of upper spine rotation across the leg that's rotating outward. So turning over that leading leg knee, just a little more. The arms can get involved if you want, feeling those shoulder blades reach. And now the next time your left leg is externally rotating and your right leg is internally rotating, you're going to get your hands to the mat and think of how pigeon looks, but square it off. Left knee towards the middle of the mat here, left shin on the mat, and the heels and the heel and the toe and the knee and the hip on this left leg are all in a straight line with one another. Scoot your right foot back a little bit and keep those toes tucked under. Bring a little flexion into your spine as you push your arms into the mat so it feels like you're trying to do cat pose. As you lower your right knee, point your toe and bring your heel to your seat as you draw your chest through your arms, kind of like you're doing a little cobra here. Let's alternate between those two. Tuck the toes under, float the knee, flex your spine. Drop the knee, kick your heel in, point your toe, and lift your chest. How do you want your breathing to complement this little flow? More than one right way, I'm sure. Let's do one more of each movement. And the next time you find yourself flexing up the back, keep those back toes tucking. Start to peel your knee up off the mat, glide your thigh up into your chest, and stretch the top of your left foot. Keep those toes pressing into the mat. And then step back to a downward dog. Widen your hand grip a little bit so you have a little more space in your neck, and then think of really letting the sides of the shoulder reach and stretch. Letting those lats lengthen, and then in opposition, pull your hips in the opposite direction, up and back. Start to tuck the right knee forward, come onto your right shin, top of the foot pressing into the mat, left toes scoot way back. So we're in kind of this neutral floating pigeon stretch. Flex your spine, especially that upper back, maybe give the glutes a little squeeze on that left hip. And then go ahead and lower your knee, heel to seat, heart pulls forward. I like to point my toe on that one. And then find your rhythm. Natural breathing coordination, however makes sense. At least one more in each of these positions. And then let's tuck those back toes again, lift your left knee. Start to peel the right shin off the mat, but keep your toes pressing. Draw your thigh up into your chest. You can create a little spine flexion again on that upper back. And then step it back to downward dog. Readjust. Feel free to make your down dog a little bit exploratory here, so we can pedal or we can turn the hips. You could even do some little triceps push-ups if you're feeling a little bit spicier, lowering to dolphin and then pressing the arms straight. Lift your heels, take a little walk to the front of your space. Dangling forward bend, keep it soft for now. Hands could hold the arms. We could sway a little bit. And then hopefully you have a yoga block nearby. If you don't, just get it when you're ready. Send your feet just slightly wider. Bring that block underneath your nose, more or less. Take your right hand to it, bend your right knee. The left arm is going to pull like you're drawing back a bowstring. So you're leading with that upper arm and elbow. Spin your chest to the left and then reach that left arm nice and high. Rotate your left wrist a few times with a fist or not. And then let's internally rotate this left arm and just tuck it behind the back. Creating more length in the spine as we rotate it. Move back through center, just hang for a second or two. Same little twist, open to the right side now. Pulling back your bowstring, creating length. Fire up your wrist. And take that little half wrap. Forward dangle through the middle. You can set your block off to the side. And then situate your feet how you like to have them for mountain pose. On your inhale, come up to that halfway position, really strong and long. Exhale, fold it back down. Knees can bend a whole lot. One more time like that. I'm going to go ahead and take it up all the way to standing. Arms nice and wide as you reach over your head. Pulling down with the left arm, let's reach the right arm up and over, side stretch. Inhale, both arms reach. Pull down with the right, stretch through the left. Both arms back overhead again. Breathe when it makes sense. Split the arms. Turn one direction or the other with your upper body. Hips stay facing forward. Back to that tall reach through the middle channel. And then twisty the other way. Back to the top. Let's go together with the feet here. Maybe the big toes touch. There can still be some separation in the heels. As you exhale, sit into a chair and once again twist just with the upper body. Inhale back to reaching mountain. And then sit and twist the other way. Let's do it again, each side. Last one, final direction. Once you get back to that neutral position, let's take just a micro back bend with the arms pulling down towards that cactus position. Chest mostly forward, but also up is fine. And then find your forward fold. Create that nice deep hip hinge. Just one half lift, inhale breath. And as you fold, let's step back to tabletop and work the spine a little bit more. Cat-cow variations, which could include some of that rib spiraling, crazy cat-cow. Letting the spine move around a loop like a jump rope. Letting the shoulders play. Hips can swivel a little too. And then find your neutral tabletop. Untuck your toes, press your feet down. Stay really committed to this left shoulder and reach your right arm underneath you. So you're just going to hold the left side of the ribs with fingertips or whatever you can reach. Rotate your chest open to the right, but keep that right arm squeezing into your torso. So it's mostly core. But this time we're not letting the shoulder help us twist. And then switch sides. Left hand hugs the torso. And we spin open a little bit towards the left. Set up for plank. Hands and toes scrubbing towards each other. Do your best to keep this really straight line plank and hover it to the floor. Set your fingertips wide, tops of the feet down. Bend your elbows and just kind of pull your elbows forward. Connect to your backside. Pull your chest through your arms slightly. And then we're taking an upper body twist. Dip one shoulder down. Take a peek over your opposite shoulder. Just back and forth one more time each way. Your choice here, Sphinx, Cobra, or Upward Face Dog. Downward Face Dog. Right hand, reach it towards your left ankle, shin, or foot, and spiral your chest open towards your left. Shift forward plank. Halfway or all the way down from there. Cobra or Upward Face Dog. Downward Facing Dog. Conscious breathing, but no need to overwork it. Left hand reaches across towards the right. Little upper body spinning to the right. Really pushing from that right shoulder. Shift forward high plank. Halfway to chaturanga or all the way prone. Pull your shoulders down and back for your back bend. Strong legs in seat. Down dog. Pike the hips, flip the toes, and pause. Walk it up, step it up, or hop it up. As you rise to stand, as soon as you can, take away the left leg and bring it out in front of you. Step down, hinge and fold. As you rise up, as soon as you're able, float the right leg up. Just bend the knee about 90. And step down and hinge again, all the way folding. This time as you rise, you're going to step the left toes back and reach the arms forward, a flying lunge. Step forward all the way to mountain pose, 2 feet to the mat. Right toe step back, the arms reach forward, creating a little hinge here. Mountain pose, step it up. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, hinging, fold, take your time. Half lift for your inhale. And then from here, it's your choice how you're going to get back to your downward face dog. We have time for a vinyasa if you really want it. Otherwise, just step it back. Nice, Joan. Let's go right leg high. Downward dog splits, left heel a little higher. Shift towards a plank, squeeze the leg into your chest, round it up like the cat. Step forward. Once your feet and legs are prepared, reach your arms out in front of you, nice and wide, like you're holding a giant fitness ball over your head. As you bring your left leg out in front of you, cross it over the right. It's like a chair pose. Right hand or elbow to the left thigh or knee. Left hand just hides behind the back. Chair pose, rising all the way up. Inhale. And then forward fold, exhale. Maybe a half lift before your vinyasa, or simplify and step to down dog. Take your left leg up and back, raise your right heel, really pushing into the ball of your foot. Shift towards plank, find that hip flexion, dome up your back, coil in that front core. Step forward, situate your feet, arms reach out in front. Flying lunge, we're calling this, or flying crescent. Push off your back toes, right leg crosses over the left. Left hand or elbow to that right thigh or knee, right hand just hides behind. Uncrossing the legs, find just a moment in that chair pose again. Inhale to rise. Exhale to your fold. Take it your way, that transition. We'll meet you back in downward dog. We're going to build on that. We will be turning eventually towards the back of the mat, so just try to follow my cues. We'll all wind up in the same place eventually. Right leg up and back, left heel high. Shift and tuck and step through. Flying crescent, arms reaching forwards. Little lift of the chest like a cobra. Left leg crosses over. Right arm crosses in front towards that left side, left hand behind your back. Squeeze your inner thighs. Reach your right arm out in front of you, maybe a little wider. Uncross left leg, step back for a warrior two. Upright your spine. A little different flying monkey today. We're going to keep it real high off the ground. As you bend your back leg, straighten your front and then peel your toes off the ground. And then just lean sideways, kind of like you would for triangle. Rebend, reverse your warrior. Side angle pose your way. Inhale, rise and open to your left like star pose, and then turn to the back of your mat for runner's lunge. Let's take a little twist here. Right hand real light, turn your chest to the left. Reset hands like you would for plank. Left leg up and back, downward dog splits. Inhale. Exhale, try to kiss your knee, flex your spine up, push into those back toes, step forward. Arms reaching forward, we're floating the chest away from that front leg. Staying long through the sides. Right leg, creep it up and over that left. Bring the left elbow or hand to the right knee or thigh. Right hand just touches your backside. Squeeze inner thighs. Reach your left arm away from your body. Unwind your right leg, step back. You're at the back of your mat now in a left side warrior two. As you straighten your front leg and lift your toes, bend into your back knee a little bit and then lean your left fingertips down towards your toe, side bending over that left leg. Rebend the front knee, reverse the warrior two. Inhale. Your side angle. Inhale, rising to that star pose, facing sideways on your mat. Runner's lunge back to this front leg. Plant your palms. Right leg up and back. Downward dog splits. We're going to do it again. Step it through. Flying crescent to that single leg crossed over squat. Left over right. Right arm reaches across. Unravel it. Step back to your warrior two. And then find that funky Skandasana pose. Tipping over that front leg, toes up. Inhale, reverse warrior two. Side angle for exhale. Inhale, open up to the side. Exhale, we got the runners to the back, or you could take that little twisty runners. Downward dog splits, the left leg kicks up and back. Shift and tuck and step forward. Flying, reaching crescent. Power up, cross the right leg up and over. Left arm reaches over towards that right side. Warrior two, step back the right foot. Nice, Allie. Funky little side lunge. Reverse the warrior two. Side angle. Following your breath patterns. Inhale, open up to that wide star. Runners or runners twisting back to this front leg, right side. Now we can flow or reset to downward dog. Okay, next round is going to be longer holds and more poses. We're working our way around the mat in 360 degrees like a mandala. Mandala. Right leg up and back, left heel high. Step it through and then fire up that flying lunge. Arms wide but reaching. Left leg over the right, find the squeeze and the little wrap. Right elbow connecting maybe a little bit further outside that left leg now. Keeping the core involved, but using the arms to create more leverage. Warrior two, step back left foot. Front leg straightens, toes lift, the back knee bends, and we tip towards the toes, or maybe beyond the toes, towards the heel. Reverse the warrior two. Side angle. We're going to take an inhale in this side angle, and then exhale, start to rotate your chest towards the mat, like you're going to clap your hands together. Flex your upper back slightly. Two more like that. Inhale, expand, open. Exhale, pivot the sternum towards the right big toe. Flex your upper back. One more time. And then you're just going to open to that star pose towards the left. trying to get configured to the side of your mat. And then as we switch to turning backwards, all 10 toes are going to point to the back short edge of your mat. Lift your back heel, fold over your left leg as straight as you can make it. So it feels like a longer version of pyramid with the back heel up. Rebend your left leg and step your right foot a little bit further back so you're more in that low runners. Float the chest off that left leg, cactus your arms. Just a different version of that flying crescent we've been working on. Now use your core first. You're twisting to the left. Once you feel like you've maxed that out, take your hands together at your heart and use the right arm to connect to the left leg. Now this is where it gets fun, funky, and a little more challenging. Your left leg's going to stay where it is. Maintaining your twist best that you can, step your right foot up to meet your left foot. You're in prayer hand twisted chair. Now we're going to be switching to the legs. The right foot is going to be your pushing leg, the grounding leg, and you're going to try to keep your twist. Even if you lose the connection with the elbow to the knee, you're going to do your best to stand up on this right leg. Now, once you get to standing, if you're not able to stand fully upright, let's take this right hand and hold the left knee, and then swim your left arm behind you. One other option here is you could hold the outside edge of your left foot and extend the leg. One more breath. Now you're going to step open with this left leg, and we're going to find a forward hinge in wide leg stance. Hands can come to the toes or the ankles or just to the mat underneath you. Bring your spine up about halfway, fingers under the shoulders. Start to turn all 10 toes to the front. Just walk your hands to frame out your front foot. Lower your left foot. Pop your right leg up a little bit more. Grab one of your yoga blocks. The stance is pyramid. You're coming all the way to standing. And then if your feet don't feel like they're in the right spot for a pyramid, you're going to shorten your stance or widen your stance, whatever you need to do to get kind of reconfigured. Let's keep our left hand on our left hip or waist. Block is in the right hand. You're peeling the ribs forward, pushing that block to the sky so you're getting some nice space between the right hip, engaging the right seat, and then lifting all the way through that right shoulder, feeling those lats stretch again. Feel into this left hip crease. Start to hinge your pelvis forward until your spine feels like it's about halfway down, or maybe a little less than that. Keep pushing the block, same direction as your toes. Keep all that length you just created. Ground your block just underneath your shoulder. The left arm is going to create that rowing action, pulling back the bowstring, turning open to the left, revolving triangle pose. Maybe eventually reaching that left arm all the way open for 5. Rebend your front knee just a little bit. Walk that block out in front of you more. Push off your back toes, revolving half moon pose. Strong kick from this right seat, drilling down through your left foot tripod, lengthening your spine as you rotate open for 3. 2. Try to shift your weight into your left heel more. Maybe put a little bend in that left knee. Can you push your hand off that block and stand all the way up on your left leg? It might be wobbly. Right knee out in front of you. Left hand is going to push down onto that right leg. The right leg's pushing up into the hand. Wrap your ribs open to the right now. One more breath. And then step your feet just a little bit further back from the front of your mat and go wide with them. We're going to be squatting. Any kind of a yogi squat. Choose a depth that feels like it's challenging, but that you're still in control. And then we have some choices here. I'm going to give you some time to play around with this. The first option is obviously just to do your regular vinyasa exit. The second option would be Bakasana crow pose exit. Third option would be to sit from here, coil up into a little cannonball roll, and then cross your ankles, shift back forward, plant your palms, and find your chaturanga from there. So let's go for like maybe 30 seconds or so working on one of those things or something else. Nice arm balance, Joan. Good, Allie. Okay, so then we have just a moment for a little bit of recovery, okay? So if you need a sip of water, or you need to mop off your sweaty brow so that it doesn't go into your eyes, we have time. I wish you could all see Tuffy right now. Hopefully he won't move and I can get a picture of him. His back side is in the bed. His front side is on the floor in Sphinx pose. His head is tipped to the side and his tongue is out. So silly. All right, let's do this. Second round. Downward dog. Feeling that neutral presentation of all of the back curves. Heels heavy, but don't worry about touching. Hips and fingertips reaching in opposition. Left leg can come up and back, give it a nice big stretch. Coil it inward as you shift forward, step forward. Float the chest, reach the arms. A little extra time in this flying crescent lunge. Since the shoulders are maybe a little warmer, maybe we can get more range and flexion, pulling the thumbs up a little higher. Containing the front rib cage as we move the arms higher. And then find that little twisty single leg chair, right over left. Left elbow or hand to that right thigh. Right arm can just tuck behind you. Maybe more of a wrap, more rotation. More compression, squeezing those legs together. Unravel the right leg. Let's step back to our warrior two. We're still bending into this left knee. Left leg straightens as the toes lift. We bend into the back leg and take that little left side tipping towards the floor, towards the toes or the shin. Find your reverse warrior two, left side. Reaching that left arm high, right shoulder soft. Side angle pose. A light touch on that forearm if you're resting it against your left leg. As you rise, turn open to the right in that star pose. And then you'll have to kind of shimmy your foundation so that all 10 toes point to the back of the mat, left heel lifts, and we fold over our right leg like pyramid, but a little longer. Targeting those hamstrings on this front leg. Letting that upper back soften and round. Rebend right knee. Step the left toes to feel like you're in about your maximal length in this lunge stance. And then lift the torso away from the right thigh, but keep that knee bent. Cactus your arms. Keep all that beautiful length you created in your spine. Twist to the right, core first. Then the arms help you. Left elbow can connect to that right leg. Thumbs try to center to the sternum. Keep pushing your right hand into your left. Right foot stays connected, grounded, rooted. Bring your left foot up to meet that right foot. revolving chair with prayer hands. Now we're shifting more of our energy into the left foot. Maybe first you just lift the right heel off the mat. Keep your twist, even if it means opening the arms out. Try to stand up on your left leg. And then the left hand can hold that right knee. Chest open to the right, right arm swims backwards, reaching to the front of your mat. Step back, right foot, open up to the straddle stance. Maybe the toes point inward for you. Hands to the hips, fold over your hip creases. Wide leg fold. Fingertips prop up underneath the shoulders as your trunk lifts to that halfway tabletop position. And then you're just going to walk yourself back to the front. Point all 10 toes forward. Shorten your stance, but widen it from left to right. Bring your block with you and stand all the way up. Really strong through your foundation. And then I always feel like I need to fine-tune this when I stand back up. You're looking for pyramid in the legs and in the pelvis. Blocks in the left hand. Push the block skyward. Right hand either in the hip crease or just at the side of the pelvis, just to try to keep it rotating forward. Once you've got maximal length, try to keep it. Tip your pelvis forward over your front leg until you feel like you're almost horizontal. Take another breath or two there, really firing up the backside. And then use the block against the floor for leverage. Pull back the bowstring with your right arm first. Twist, twist, twist. Then reach the arm open. Revolving triangle for 5, 4, 3, 2. For the transition to revolving half moon, first rebend your front leg. Keep the twist if you can, but walk that block forward more. That way when your left leg lifts, your wrist and your shoulder are about vertical. Most powerful kick from the left seat that you can make. Wrap the ribs right. For 3, 2. Now send your weight backwards into that right heel a little bit more. Bend your right knee. Push the block away, stand all the way up, switch now. The left leg comes out front, the left arm circles back. Press your left thigh up into your right hand. Breathing. Maybe you could hold the foot here too, that's up to you. Last 2. And then as you step both feet, walk yourself back a little bit so you have some space out in front of you. Finding your squatting foundation. Nice, slow, controlled descent to your squat. Finding the basement or maybe just the first floor. You have yoga blocks too. You could make it more of a sitting squat if you want. Same options as before with those transitions, or maybe you just stay in the squat for a little bit and work on that opening twist. Otherwise, you can roll back, maybe find some balance in the boat pose before you roll over the crossed legs, jump it back, or Bakasana. We've also twisted quite a bit, so if you have a revolving crow pose in your practice, you could also work on that. Fingertips point to the front, knees point to one side in a squat, and then we shift that weight forward. Have a little playtime. No pressure to perform. It's just exploration. When you've had enough of that, let's go to a child's pose. Child's pose options could be side bending or twisting, like threading the needle. Go for about 5 breaths if you're working on some of that side stuff. Switching sides if you haven't already. Take your time to transition yourself onto your seat, and we need 1 yoga block. Bend your knees, slide that yoga block on its most narrow side in between your knees or thighs. Create a little tucking position here, not really boat pose. So we're keeping this pretty tight container between the hips and the trunk with just a little bit of a hint of spinal flexion here. Now you can hold the front of your shins and use that leverage to maintain the tuck, or you can squeeze the heck out of that block and pull your legs into your chest and then maybe float the arms. Take away the block, keep your tuck if you can. And then I'm going to take this right hand and reach it either towards your left knee or your left foot. Float your right leg out to the side, to the front. And then you're going to maybe extend the left leg and twist open more to the left side. So crossing the body with the right hand to the left foot or knee. Right leg is just hovering in space. And then we're finding that little spin open with the left chest. Can you find that little tiny cannonball tuck again? Squeeze your legs together, both arms are reaching forward. Now the left hand is going to go for the right knee or the foot. Kick the left leg, but float it. Wrap your ribs to the right. And maybe that right leg goes a little straighter for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last time in the tuck or traditional boat pose if you prefer it, for 5, 4, 3, 2. Separate your feet just hips width. Bring them to the ground. Bring your hands to your mat just behind you. You're going to find your crab pose. I like my fingertips pointing out to the sides, but you can play around with that orientation. Your choices here are to just alternate between this little crab bridge, or you're going to shift your weight into one arm and reach that other arm up and over for a rotating crab. Maybe just a breath or 2 each way. That part's up to you. Take care of yourself here. If that feels like too much load on the shoulders, just simplify it. And then slowly lower to your seat again. Option 1, straighter legs out in front of you, traditional Paschimottanasana forward fold, where you're going to take Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose with the soles of the feet together, hips opening to the sides and abduction, and then working the chest forward and maybe down a little bit. Back body breathing, side body expansion. Trying to keep it out of the shoulders and upper chest. A slow and low and wide breath. And then go ahead and rise it up. Option 1, you are going to trickle your spine all the way down to the mat through flexion. Option 2, just get onto your back. Once you do get onto your back, have your yoga block, bend your knees, set your feet wide, and then hold the block gently between your knees as they turn towards each other. So it's a little bit of a pigeon-toed internal rotation. Keep your feet just where they are for now. Lift your hips and shift them just a little bit towards the right side. And then pull your legs into your chest. Let your legs float over to the left in any kind of a spinal twist. Now you can hold that block, or it could go underneath your left leg instead. So you have some support there on that left side. Just let this be an easy passive twist without forcing, pushing, or pulling. Honoring your edge today. Let your right leg lead you out of the twist. Shift yourself back to what feels like straight neutral in your spine. So bring your feet back down, readjust, squeeze the block between your legs, pull your knees up into your chest, and then find those circles through that lower body. Same thing we did at the very beginning. 2 to 3 the other direction. And then keep a hold of that block. When you bring your feet down, make sure they're to the edges of your mat. Constructive rest, just holding the block gently between your legs. Press into your feet just enough to shift your hips left an inch or two. Squeeze your legs back up towards your body, and then take your legs over to the right, any amount for spine twist. Let your left leg lead you back. Resituate everything back to neutral. And then you've got a little bit of your own free time to explore the finishing flow for you today, whatever that is. If you're working on a pose that has a partner side, finish off that second side right now. Take about another 30 seconds or so on that one. No need to rush. And then you can create your personalized resting shape and state, whether that's to sit for meditation or to spread your body all the way out onto your mat like water. Constructive rest is a good one. Even laying on your side or your front. Position isn't as important as your comfort and your ability to be effortless. That is a skill on its own. As you let the breath come back to an organic rhythm, feel a sense of a full body hush. Surrender, letting go. An equanimous state between the body, the head, and the spirit or the heart. Just be. Stay connected to this resting state just for a few more moments, observing the state of things for you in your physical body. Acknowledging any thoughts while staying somewhat removed from those messages. If it feels intuitive for you to change your breathing as a way to elicit some change in your body, you can work on that now for a few rounds. And then take all the time you need to remobilize, starting with the littler joints first, perhaps, and working your way inward from there. Unrushed movements, patient and kind. And then you might want to lay on your side momentarily or find that cannonball shape again to rock yourself up to your seat, where we will meet. Maybe sitting on your block to give your hips some extra room. And feel free to wiggle the shoulders and the neck. Create some little movement in your spine. Thanks so much for showing up today, practicing with me, sharing your energy, even though it was through the interwebs. I hope you have an awesome weekend, everyone. Take care of yourselves.